Starting today, I'm only going to review movies that I like. I don't want to be in the business of ripping movies to shreds anymore. I think it's tasteless. And you know what? I think it's time for us to be better as people and better as reviewers. So let's review the Prom Night remake. Prom Night, the remake, stars Brittany Snow, Scott Porter, Idris Elba, and is directed by Nelson McCormick. My God, the poster of this movie looks far more interesting than the movie itself. What's up, guys? Time to review the Prom Night remake. I've made it known many a time, my disdain for this movie. Even in my top 10 worst remakes, I put it at number 2, I think. It's been a while, I don't remember, but yeah, and my little intro there, I know a lot of you are going to think about Chris Stuckman and how he gave up reviewing quote-unquote bad movies. I am a massive Chris Stuckman fan. He is one of my biggest inspirations for doing this. Just being silly there, okay? He even gave me like an attaboy when I reviewed The Empty Man, which was really nice. It was nice to actually touch base with him over that. But yeah, just a funny little joke, okay? I'm gonna stick to reviewing what I review. Plus, it is fun tearing apart bad movies, you know? At least in my opinion, they're bad movies. You know, some people like them. Some people like this movie. And God bless you if you do, okay? Know that going into this, anytime I rip a movie apart, that's not me attacking you if you like the movie. Not at all, okay? We all have different tastes. Movies, they are an emotional medium, and they can affect us in different ways. That's why I love movies in the first place, okay? Having said that, let's get going. So anyway, let me give you a quick plot synopsis, because the plot of this movie could have been a great like stalker type discussion. Let's just say the table was set for a good movie. Brittany Snow plays Donna, our main character, and she's stalked by this crazed maniac by the name of Richard. And every time she sees him, he professes his love for her. He states that they are going to be together, violently states that they're going to be together no matter what. And he will kill anyone that gets in his way, right? Sounds great, right? When you say it out loud.
Look at me!
Can we go now?
Be together forever. You ain't gonna be anyway. You're gonna be in jail. Be together forever. That's what promised.
So Richard is caught, and then we fast forward, I believe it's 3 years later, and Donna is finally putting the pieces of her life back together, and she's gonna have this prom. She goes to the prom with her friends, these two couples, Claire and Michael, and then Ronnie and Lisa. And her boyfriend is Bobby. And so while she's at the prom, of course, Richard, he breaks out of jail and he stalks her for the rest of the movie. He spends a lot of time at this hotel where the prom is being held, and he's picking off victims one by one, like the housekeeper. You'll have like the hotel staff coming up, and then he'll kill them. And eventually some of Donna's friends. So jumping into this review, let me say this up front. I have given this movie a chance quite a few times. I've probably watched this movie more than I should. It did come on Netflix a few months ago, and when it came on there, I was reminded of it again. I was like, yeah, I can't believe I've never reviewed this movie. Anytime I review a movie, I want to give it a fair shake, and sometimes dare I say, I try to go into the movie wanting to like it. You know, I felt like I went into this movie, let's do a clean slate. Let's see if we can actually finally get something out of the Prom Night remake. And about halfway into the movie, I'm reminded why I don't like it in the first place. And there's quite a few reasons, actually. But before I start ripping, let me just tell you a couple things I do like about the movie somewhat. Brittany Snow is a good actress. I like Brittany Snow, and I don't dislike her character. Ultimately, she has the same problem that I have with pretty much all the characters and the story in this movie, is everything just feels really superficial. You know, nothing feels beneath the surface. And that's really not your actor's fault, right? Hell, all the acting in this movie is fine. You know, it's what it needs to be. Like any, I guess, CW show or something like that, you know, or the Millennium Slasher type movie. All of those have acting kind of like this. And I do like some Millennium Slashers. Hell, Scream is pretty much a Millennium Slasher. It kind of created the Millennium Slasher. And again, I can have a lot of fun with those movies under the right conditions. You know, if the kills are great, if they kind of delve into the characters a little deeper, then that can be fun. And let's call a spade. Eye candy isn't a bad thing, all right? And you do get that with Millennium Slashers. Also, I guess there is a case to be made that you don't get some of the same elements with Millennium Slashers that you did in the 80s, meaning like nudity. So if nudity was your thing back then, not saying it was mine, but you know, that's kind of part of the gratuitous nature of slasher movies to begin with. And when you start pulling some of that stuff away, you know, be it nudity, be it violence, be it whatever, some of your audience might have a problem with it. The Killer Richard, I remember before I watched it this last time, I used to kind of defend Richard and say, hey, I don't have a problem with the killer. It's everything around him. But after this latest watch, no, I don't like the killer either. He's pretty damn boring and one note. He doesn't really do much of anything at all. He has this sort of monotone delivery stating his love, but I don't think he really goes for it, you know, in terms of a psychotic killer. There's been so many different interpretations of psychos in American Psycho, Patrick Bateman, you know. That's a character that has quite a few different layers in terms of his presence and his performance. But Richard doesn't really do too much. He stays inside kind of a safety box. But it's not just that, too. It's the way the character is directed and the way the character is handled. Might be because of the limitations of this being a PG-13 movie. But this guy has one of the most badass knives I've seen. It kind of reminds me of the knife in Cobra. You're in a PG-13 movie and you don't really get to take advantage of that knife. Every time there is a kill scene, they opt to cut away or not show the kill, or maybe try to show like an artistic angle, you know? And you just kind of hear these stabbing sounds in the background. If you want to do that maybe once or twice in a movie that does show a lot of the kills, hell, you can get creative with kills in a PG-13 movie. This one doesn't do it at all. Every single kill, I get more and more angry. It just gets so freaking frustrating because it's a cutaway every single time. Now, to the movie's credit, I will say there is some blood in the movie, but you never see blood happen really like during the act. You know, like I just reviewed this movie Dream Home. Oh my God, there's blood all over the place. Now, with the nature of most of these kills, there would be a freaking smorgasbord of blood all over the floor. And what we get is like a quarter's width of blood around the, you know, the mark on the victim's shirt. You know, there might be 3 or 4. And I'll even say that they went out of their way to try to make the blood not look red enough, like it looks like barbecue sauce. And I think the thing that frustrates me so much about these kills is the potential. There's so much potential. The setup is there. You know, you have these moments where he'll have like housekeeping come into the room, and again, you get a cutaway, but man, the possibilities of a scene like that, like as much shit as we give Rob Zombie, boy, he would have a field day with some of these setups in this movie. There's one scene where a member of the staff comes in. It's usually like the killer hiding in the shadows, and then he just leaps out, and then all you see is like him holding the guy's neck and the guy screaming, like a close-up in the camera of the guy just kind of yelling, and then boom, we're done. .0 creativity in this movie with the kills. And if I'm watching a slasher movie, I don't even really need to see blood if you can just get really creative with the kills, you know? That's what I think. I think your job as a director, okay, I can't show them too much blood. So how can I go above and beyond and get just really creative with these kills? Okay, with that out of the way, another thing that really annoys the shit out of me about this movie, I guess it's just the structure. You know, it feels a little bit too cheesy for most of the movie. Almost like Disney cheesy. And I know that you'll have movies with young characters that have parties and whatnot, but I don't know if it's maybe because of the prom setting. I don't know what it is, but it just something feels way too goody-goody about this movie. So much so that it just irks the hell out of you. You know, again, it just feels kind of like it could be a Disney movie. And that takes up a lot of the real estate in this movie. So it never really settles on a tone that feels natural. Like, I think if this movie would have started off with more of like a cheesy environment, and then it just starts getting more and more menacing along the way, because I think that's what it tries to do. But maybe it's just an editing issue, but it just bounces back and forth between cheesy and ominous. And the ominous isn't even like ominous enough, I think. And I think it's just poorly written characters. These are just superficial storylines with Donna's friends. You got her two couple friends, Michael and Claire. They're the couple that they're constantly fighting with each other. One doesn't trust the other. And then you got Ronnie and Lisa, who have their own personalities. Lisa's Donna's best friend, and she's the one, I guess, in the middle of their cheesy makeout session. She has this like wake up moment. It's like she realizes that Donna is in trouble.
Jesus Christ, Lisa, of course, it's him.
And I think the biggest problem here is like Lisa has this setup for this kill that sort of reminded me of like Helen from I Know What You Did Last Summer, one of the best freaking chase scenes in all of modern horror. You know, the environment was there, the lighting was there, but it just turns into just, a throat slit, but it's not even shown. You just see like a splatter of blood. It just feels like a scene that was just thrown together way too quickly, and it wasn't properly planned out. And I think that's pretty much what this whole movie feels like. And this movie, I think, has a golden opportunity in the final act to really drive it home, and it just never does. And this guy, Richard, I mean, I swear, you'd almost have like a freaking SWAT team after this guy. He's not like a special forces type of guy, a Green Beret or anything like that. I believe he was just a teacher in the past, and somehow he's able to get by Idris Elba, you know, these detectives. If he's able to constantly get by these people and get away with it, then, you know, this is like the worst crime force ever. So he ends up back in Donna's house, and again, we see Donna under the bed. So it's kind of mirroring the opening of the movie. And there have been plenty of horror scenes that take place under a bed that are far more terrifying than anything even attempted in this movie. Now, I guess the last thing I want to talk about is the franchise in general. To give this movie a little credit, because I used to give it a hard time for just ripping off the name Prom Night and not being an actual remake of the original movie. But after I went and watched Prom Night 2, I quickly realized that, oh, okay, I think I see what this franchise is. Pretty much all the movies are different. Now, I haven't seen Prom Night 3. Is it Mary Lou in that movie as well? But I guess I have to give the movie a pass in that regard, even though I still kind of find it annoying. Just because I love the original Prom Night so much, and this movie makes me appreciate it even more. And, you know, maybe it's just that 80s vibe that movie has. And that killer in the original movie should not be as creepy as Richard in this movie, given who they are. But because of the way the movie is handled and directed, that killer, I think his name's Alex in the original, he is creepier. And it does work better. So I think I figured out why I hate this movie so much. It's just like every scene, I think there is potential, possibilities. I don't know if the R rating would have got it there, but it's just like they fail over and over and over again in this movie. You know, it's just really annoying to me. It's just way too cheesy. The characters are too one-dimensional. Didn't even mention her boyfriend Bobby, who is pretty much useless. The Prom Night remake, it's just a travesty. Okay, I might even hate it more than the Black Christmas remake. Probably not, but I don't know, man. This movie, it just really annoys the shit out of me, okay? So, if you like this movie, though, yeah, more power to you. I'm giving it a looped in hell, okay? This piece of shit. But if you like this movie, more power to you. I love you for it. Let me know a movie that pisses you off in the comments, okay? I know I'm going to see Halloween Ends. I just know I'm going to see that in there. And that's awesome. I'm glad it pisses you off, okay? Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums and on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out. God damn it, motherfucker.